car's background was covering.
Oh.
But not for you, kind of.
Oh. I think we're good. Hopefully. So, welcome back, Paul.
Yeah, thank you.
So we weren't able to meet last time, but now we're meeting now. So I did do a video in which I read some comments that we got from various people, and I did it as kind of a lead into some of the things that we were hoping to discuss.
Okay.
Now I know that last time we had talked about how somebody thought that maybe we should switch off reading of some of the comments. Maybe for now we'll just. I got all the comments here on my phone. Unless you want to read some of them?
No, you can read it.
One of the comments that we received was from Bill Walton, who we get a lot of comments from. We've gotten a lot of comments. He's kind of one of our faithful watchers, I guess, viewers, listeners. So he wrote, when they can't get their way, instead go forth damaging the reputation of their rivals. So this is kind of in response to what we had talked about with toxic politics.
Yeah.
So when people can't get their way, or when things don't go their way, they spend all their time just kind of damaging the reputation of the people that they're running against, and they never really deal with real issues.
I had a comment recently about someone who's. I didn't watch the debate for the vice president, but I had at least the vice president's debate was better than the one for the president, because for them at least they focus more beyond themselves, and they spoke more like what they're going to do than what they can, rather than the initial debate where people are just fighting.
Right.
Did you watch it?
I did not, no.
So it may not be accurate. I didn't watch the debate, but I saw a few
clips from it.
Yeah, a few clips, and I got some commentary. But as well, commentary in itself can as well be biased.
Yeah.
If someone the one doing commentary is the Democrat, then they'll tilt it to the Democrat side,
right.
and vice versa. So yeah, but the little commentary I saw, someone was saying this debate was better than the presidential debate.
Okay. Yeah.
It was less of attacks and more of a policy.
More dealing with issues.
Issues. Yeah.
Yeah. Some of that could be maybe the way it was edited, or the clips that you saw, the way they were edited. But if there are people who are saying that the overall debate was better, But yeah.
Or maybe they watched Free to Speak.
Maybe
they had to be talking about toxic politics, and they paid heed. Maybe.
Yeah. And then he goes on to say that the virtuous woke people, the virtuous. He's got virtue. Yeah. The woke virtuous people, virtuous in quotes, are the worst, as they have invented utopic moral laws. So I like that, utopic moral laws, which the world has never known before. And they are holding everyone accountable to these new agendas as if they are God that created heaven and earth.
So by utopic, I think of utopic as something like perfect, or like
utopia.
Yeah, perfect.
But utopia is not a real. When you hear the word utopia, it's this ideal that can never really exist.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's their idea of an ideal world, which is for the rest of us is hell or chaos.
I would find the woke utopic laws, like what is saying, the utopia for the woke person. To me, I find it
right.
It's not utopic to me.
Right. Yeah. Right. Right.
I find it like hellish.
Yeah. Hellish, destructive.
Yeah.
All of that. Yeah.
But that's my opinion.
Yeah, and I agree. So,
what could be the motivation behind all this?
Yeah, that's a good question. What is the motivation behind all of this?
Yeah, because most of that, like he's saying, utopic, they are preaching unnatural things, things which are not, rights which are not, like we're promoting unnatural traits
things.
Of human traits.
That's why they have to impose them.
The effort they are putting in to promote unnatural things, like it's unprecedented. It's like too much. Like there has to be something behind, behind this push, because there's no way you're pushing something which clearly no one wants, and you're still pushing it passionately, and you're investing a lot of money to push it, and you're sticking it under everyone's throat. Something probably is behind. The Ugandan perspective, the average Ugandan thinks Americans are woke, right?
thinks that Americans in general are woke?
Exactly. The average Ugandan.
And there are a lot of Americans who are not woke.
Exactly. The average Ugandan thinks Americans, basically the West, they
West,
feel people in the West are woke. You know, a little bit of enlightened Ugandan, you know, might have a more balanced view. Recently, there's a book I had to read by someone called Chimandanda, something like that. But it's called the one-sided story, something like that. You know?
The one-sided story?
Yeah, the one-sided
That's
story.
the name of the book.
Yeah, I think like something like I can't get. Let me look. Okay, let me just get it. Yeah, it's called Chimamanda. Yeah, so there's this book by someone called Chimamanda. It was compiled by another person, but it's a speech by Chimamanda Rogers about the dangers of a one-sided story. Okay, by that you mean like, for example, if you talk to an American, let's say which place is as a remote part of America?
Remote part of America could be maybe the Appalachian Mountains.
Yeah, so you find an American in the Appalachian Mountains, and they're less traveled. They're meager education. Mm-hmm. When you tell them about Uganda, what do you think they will think? What will say? Oh, I'm going to Uganda. First of all, they will not know what Uganda is. They're like, oh, okay, I'm going. Uganda is in Africa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What image of Africa does the Ugandan and Appalachians?
Probably the safari, the jungle, the giraffes, the elephants.
Yeah.
You know.
So maybe they'll think, okay, these guys are dressed like people in the Amazon, or even me having one-sided story about the Amazon. Yeah. Like they feel that someone is putting on like the Red Indians. They're walking half naked.
But maybe they wouldn't. Maybe I'm making stereotypes about what.
No, I'm just imagining.
Yeah.
Like the idea is, if you don't have as much information, you only get the story that the world, the mainstream media is telling you, or the story that the cliche, what people know.
Or you might get the story of Uganda you get the history of Idi Amin and country.
Idi Amin, the and then Uganda has a lot of animals and etc. and is underdeveloped, and in this book of Chimamanda, he says when he went to America, to the West, he had a roommate. Actually, Chimamanda, the story is of a lady. She had a roommate, and this roommate was shocked, like, okay, you're from Nigeria, how did you learn English? Oh my
gosh,
like, how did you learn English? And like, okay, you had to explain how you learned English. Okay. Then how do you know how to use a laptop? Okay, like, yeah. Oh my God, you have a smartphone.
How do you charge your phone?
Yeah, okay, yeah. How come you're able to be in the same class with me and do study physics like something like that? Like, because that particular roommate believed that Africans are so backward.
Yes.
They don't even know how to use a smartphone. They don't know how to, and you can't blame the person.
Right.
It's just the danger of a one-sided story. Coming back to Uganda.
I've got a worse kind of story to go along with that. Okay. My own personal story. I'm almost embarrassed to admit this on camera here. So this is coming from a person who has a PhD. I'm very well educated. But when I came here in 2010, I went to visit a school in northern Uganda that was run by my wife's aunt. And when we met, the first couple days I was in Entebbe and Kampala before we went north to Nebi. And I remember being in the hotel on the last night before we went to Nebi and looking at the soap and thinking to myself, I should grab that soap because maybe I won't be able to get soap in northern Uganda. And I am so embarrassed to admit that I even was that ignorant.
Exactly.
But I mean, it just shows,
the one-sided story. Yeah.
That even if you're educated, even if you're not from one of the less educated parts of America, even if you're educated, you can still have all these stereotypes.
Yeah. So basically, this person was just in this book, you're talking about the one-sided story, and we have this a lot. Okay. But then, who has like we said in our previous video, who has a bigger part to play in that in how our story is told? Let's say as Ugandans, or how your story is told in like Americans. It's the public figures, okay? It's the people at the top, like politicians, celebrities. Those are the ones who tell your story, the American story. Now,
right.
If the person telling the story has wrong motives, then you're going to get a one-sided story. You get, if a person for example, the person who marketed Africa as a jungle or whatever, they have their intentions as why they want to market it as a jungle, and they probably achieved their goal marketing it up like that. But some people come here, they don't expect to find a mall like something small. It's not a big one, but something like Victoria Mall. They get surprised. Oh my God, Uganda has such a mall.
There's malls, and you got movie theaters, and you got restaurants, and
we have Kentucky
Fried Chicken.
Like everyone's like, oh, okay. Like it's a surprise. And some Ugandans, when they come, with some of them when they go to the US, they are surprised by some of the cultures. They will be surprised that some white people would actually be offended by someone being gay.
Right.
Because a Ugandan would believe that being gay in America is the norm. Yeah. The way the American government is, imposing it on Uganda, you have to take it in, withdrawing funding. So the average Ugandan will assume that the entire America is woke.
Right, and it is not.
And it's not the story.
But but the problem is that the power structures, at the government level and at the corporation levels, those are very woke. And they're imposing those morals and values onto the society at large.
So how we got here, the question was, why are they selling this story? Because my point is, clearly Americans are not as woke as we think, or as they are painted by the people in these power structures. But what are they intending to achieve? Why is it that the minority rules nowadays? Why is it that agenda is in our face every single day? I know the easy answer, the lazy answer would be, okay, we're just promoting equality. But really, equality at what?
But it goes so much further than that, because then you get into the transgender issues, and then you can get into even affirming things like trying to affirm somebody being fat as being okay when that's very unhealthy. If you are critical of somebody who's fat, or you want to encourage them to get in shape, you're called fat phobic or whatever. And people can call that as body shaming. Or if a girl goes on the internet and starts putting herself out there in inappropriate ways, and you confront that, you're accused of shaming her. When you're just simply trying to encourage her not to engage in dangerous behaviors. So they're going to draw attention of dangerous people.
So this is my thought.
Let's get into this. So why?
If you want to hang into power, or rather, if you want to consolidate your power and rule, not govern, not lead, but rather rule the masses and have them under your control, and they don't have much to say, you want to promote things that don't matter. You put to them the things that don't matter as much, make them a big deal, let them make noise about things that don't matter, so that the things that matter, they go under the radar or below the radar. And you can manipulate the things that matter to your advantage, because no one is really focusing on them. After all, everyone is worried about, why are you calling me fat? Why are you calling me a woman? I'm a man. Why are you calling me this? So everyone is focusing on the things that don't really matter, when the things that actually really matter are going below the radar. But they're actually happening, and they're causing, let's say, economic instability or even war, and they're robbing us. They're robbing our power to actually make a meaningful impact on society by making us focus on things that do not matter.
Or do they want to turn us against each other so that we're fighting with each other? Because if they can create chaos, they can control us better.
Exactly. Even that, even so.
So they basically they turn us against one another. So they fight against the traditional values. It's not that they necessarily believe in these values that are anti-traditional or that are unnatural. They need them in order to create chaos, so that they can have us fighting each other, so that we're easier to control. And also, if we're fighting each other, we're not focused on what they're doing.
Exactly. I think this woke thing is just a distraction. I think if I was a politician, I would even not talk about it. I guess come talk policies, rubbish this and talk policies.
Yeah, if you were to do that, then you would be attacked by all the ones. You would be attacked by all the other ones that are running for office. You would
if you're attacked by the ones that you can still decline to respond to those attacks. Like in a way, just and probably to cost you the the voting and all etc. But like you'll be setting a precedence that me, I'm the person that I only discuss things that are actually of value of taking us forward.
And I think also the problem is the media can portray whatever slant they want on the news. They can portray you however they want. And I've heard stories of Larry Elder, for example, wanted to discuss real issues when he was running for the governor of California, but the media kept focusing on things that made him look like, and he was a racist even though he's black. But they kept trying to focus on these issues to paint him a certain way so that people wouldn't vote for him, even though he tried to focus on other areas. He tried to focus on real issues, but the media never. Now, I don't want to say never, because you never say never, but the media rarely actually showed.
They put an effort into.
Yeah, or put an effort into focusing on what he was really saying or the issues that he really wanted to address.
Yeah, so basically, my major question here would be that, so what are you trying to achieve? Now I'm a therapist, and they say do not do conversion therapy, because they have made it look like it's an evil thing. It's unethical to do conversion therapy. For people who may not know what conversion therapy is,
even if they want it.
Yeah. For people who may not know what conversion therapy is, it's basically someone they might have traits of I'm homosexual, but they want out. They want to they want to be straight. So it's illegal to do therapy with them. Whereas if someone is a man and they want to be a woman, they do their gender family care and etc. It's so hypocritical. If someone is trying to go back to whatever is traditional and conservative, it's illegal to help them. Whereas the reverse is actually forced onto us.
What's behind all of this?
I don't want to come off as someone who is, let's say, belittling or condescending, but they struggle with identity. They struggle with an identity crisis, or they struggle to fit in. It takes a lot to actually, let's say, transform from a man to a woman. Hormonal changes, a lot of things. So it comes with health risk, cognitive risk, impairment, and many things. So basically, this person will go through a lot of changes and struggle in life,
and be unable to reverse many of these changes.
Yeah, and if you're unhealthy, then you may not live to your fullest potential. Maybe they do, but they go to therapy most of the time because they're having depression, all these things. They struggle. They take drugs. At least the ones I've seen, their mental health takes a very big hit, either because of stigma, which the work apparently are trying to wipe out by their promotion of all this thing. Yeah, but it's there, the stigma, and it may not go away. People always look at them that way. Even whether they say it or not, they'll always, So, so if you're having such people who are not comfortable in their own skin, these people are don't have as much grit, to address issues or to basically progress society. These are the people they want. They don't want people who are their natural selves, functioning at their peak best. They don't want that. It looks like they want the people who are, less close to their best version. Those are easier people to manipulate. People who are more gullible. People who are more controllable.
Right, controllable, that's the key, yes.
Yeah. I was talking to someone recently and I said, when a man cries every time, they call him a weak man. Whereas when a woman is crying every time, we support, because we know women are more emotional, etc. But if a man is always crying, it turns out as a weak man, But that's what they want.
Yeah.
Even in our profession, we're encouraged to encourage people to cry, because I also believe my profession is work to an extent, because some of the ethics that are preached to us, in our school and many of these things are work, So trying to be a psychologist who is not work, you won't go untouched. People will fight you all over the place, but you give it your best shot.
Yeah.
You try to be independent and do what you can, as long as your clients appreciate it. Whoever says whatever they say, that's their problem. So they want people to be they want to have a weak population, which is easy to control.
Yes.
And that's why they are pushing these agendas.
Right.
Because if I'm worried about, my hormones are now acting up, I have to go for another pill, there is no time for me to actually, fight for, let's say, economic policy or, things that actually matter.
Right. All right. So I guess we can wrap this part of the conversation up. We will be back in another 7 days.
Okay.
So
thank you.
bye.
So bye.